Hello and welcome to another Big Finish monthly range review for Torchwood. Today I'm going to be looking at a Toshiko-centered story, that being The Vigil by Lou Morgan. But before we get into it though, I'd just like to ask, if you haven't already, please support the channel by hitting the subscribe button below, as well as the notifications bell, liking, comment your thoughts on this particular story, and you can find and follow me on social media at the links here. This is an interesting release in terms of where it takes place in the Torchwood timeline, as we get to see a story focused on Tosh before the events of Series 1, so before Gwen. This is not only an opportunity to explore her early time at Torchwood, this is also an instance where the monthly range creates a new member of the team, since we get to see what it was like before the show started, and as such we focus on the character Sebastian Vaughn. The Vigil sees Tosh, following the death of her colleague Sebastian Vaughn, taking his body to be buried as part of his family's very specific tradition, and reflecting on their time together. Specifically, a case involving what appeared to be just ordinary space leeches, but despite Vaughn's very blasé attitude about it, Tosh wonders if there's more to them.
Well, here goes. Sebastian Vaughn, Torchwood final message. If you're watching this, I'm dead. So, hi guys. Hello from the afterlife.
I'm sorry, Sebastian. I'm so sorry for all of it. But I'll make sure you get home.
The story has a pretty interesting structure, as pretty much from the outset we learn that the character of Sebastian has died, which I imagine was an inevitability, but starting it off straight away by having him already passed, and then cutting back and forth to when he was alive, it's interesting to see the type of relationship Tosh had with him. While Tosh suggests to Sebastian's grieving mother that they were pretty close friends, the reality we see is that Sebastian wasn't exactly the most competent or likeable sort of person, and Tosh is put in the very difficult position of having to tolerate and pretend that they were much closer than they actually were, while also having to deal with the very high standards of the Vaughn family and how much they look down on her, and she has to just get on with it purely out of respect for the dead. It's a really difficult listen, not as extreme as something like Corpse Day. This is very different, but the prospect of having to listen to this really likeable character be constantly verbally abused by everyone around her and just has to get on with it, it's really difficult. You really sympathise with Tosh here. Props really have to be given to both Lucy Robinson and Hugh Skinner as Madeline and Sebastian Vaughn, as they have the really difficult task of making these characters as unlikable as possible, but just have a degree of charm and likability to the point where you understand why people put up with their behaviour.
Tell me, Miss Sato, are you prepared to die for Torchwood? I understand that sometimes it's the only choice. We all do, but I thought not. You see, Torchwood needs a certain sort of person.
To conclude, The Vigil is a good opportunity to show how overlooked Tosh is sometimes as a character. Due to her likeable nature, she's often singled out in a group like Torchwood, where likability isn't really the priority of certain characters, purely to make them stand out more. So she sometimes kind of gets overlooked. And this is an interesting meta-exploration of that idea. I hope you enjoyed this video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.